How y'all doing? I've just recorded a video on this topic, like a long form, getting in shape naturally without any drugs, any of these weight loss drugs or performance enhancers is a mark of status, because just like anything in life that requires discipline, hard work is a mark of status, right? So if you do that, you're not looking for quick fixes. I'm not a fan of anything that is a shortcut or a quick fix. Doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't go for shortcuts or quick fixes in life, because, you know, if there's an easy route or a hard route, you take the easy route, right? But what I kind of mean there is don't cheat the system, you know. And the video that I just recorded was talking about specifically weight loss drugs. Right, you might, I know you might have seen it, the Ozempic. Have you seen this new drug? Been out a couple of years or whatever, and it was brought out for diabetes type 2, and one of the benefits of it is it suppresses the appetite, basically, by making the digestive system work a lot slower, so you basically just feel fuller for longer, and this results in you eating fewer calories. And that's the basic science on weight loss. And but my opinion of that is it's a shortcut, because what actually happened was, once people realised the side effects of this diabetes drug, was you also lose a lot of weight loss. A lot of people started using it, this Ozempic, think it's semaglutide that's inside it that does the suppression. And a lot of people started to use this drug off-label for specific reasons of losing weight. Started to lose a lot of weight, and it created a bit of a buzz around it. So the company that made the drug, Ozempic, looked at it and rebranded it, got it, this is in the United States, got it reapproved under the FDA, and sold it as, what was it called? Wrote down it, Wegovy, right? So you got this other one, Wegovy, which is specifically a weight loss drug. And so people started to lose a lot of weight on this Wegovy, which is same as the Ozempic, and getting quick fixes. And I think there was even a couple of social media memes going around, like, take Ozempic, eat whatever you want and still lose weight. And like, listen, I'm not shitting on people that, you know, because if you're overweight and stuff, you need help to lose the weight. I think, yeah, all right, there's an argument for it. But the big problem with taking those drugs to lose the weight or shortcutting is there is a massive identity problem here, right? You haven't actually become the person that can keep the weight off for life. So just relying on a drug, first thing is, right, you built a dependency on the drug. So, you know, the problem I have with these drugs, yes, they're a tool to get some weight off quick, but unless that person then changes their lifestyle and starts living in accordance with that new person that is now lost the weight, it ain't going to stick, right? Because you've got an identity problem. You've got to become that new person every day in the rituals, routines, and habits that you practice. And that means, so if someone is, like, you know, severely overweight, because when you look at you know, the people that were prescribed the drug Ozempic in the first place, they had like diabetes type 2, right? And 99% of people that have diabetes type 2 have got there through poor life choices, right? Usually it's eating all the wrong things, too much of eating of the wrong things, not enough exercise. It's basically living unhealthy, right? So if you lose the weight, and let's say you do it on the drugs, And then one day you have to stop taking the drugs. Unless you've changed yourself, actually change the whole identity and what you do on a day-to-day basis, unless you've physically made the long-term changes. That way it's just going to yo-yo back on. Right, so the real key, and the real mark of status and the real mark of success is to physically change yourself, right? As in, say, I am not going to eat that shite anymore, and I'm going to start living this way, doing these things. These are my habits, and that's what I'm going to do every day, right? So you've got to almost like make a lifestyle choice here, right? You've got to physically make a lifestyle choice. And I had to do this. The thumbnail, this is a live, so you probably don't see the thumbnail, but when you look at it back on the history and you watch history, you'll see the thumbnail, right? That was me on the left a few years ago, like 2018 or whatever. I was about 4 stone heavier. I'd let myself go because I was, I've talked about this story a lot. I've always had a love-hate relationship with the gym. But back at that time period, I was launching my software business and my mind was focused on this software. And I was just traveling up and down the fucking country in my car, trying to book demo meetings, trying to sell software. Because I've just created the business, not just created the business, I just launched the new software. So I was on the road trying to sell it. And I sacrificed my health for that business at that point. And I was just living on service station dinners, calling into service stations, getting a fucking McDonald's or getting a Ginster's pasta and just eating shite. And I got massive, right? I'd always been fit all my life, gym. But that period, because my mind was taken off and I wasn't living right, I got massive. And it just got to, so the way out of it was the hard way for me. I literally put myself through cold turkey to resist the cravings, went strict keto, right? And you don't have to do this with keto, but keto trains you to not have the cravings for them really, really bad processed carbohydrates that are addictive, like stuff that I was just talking about. So with these drugs, right, this Ozempic and this Wegovy, the semaglutide, which is the agent inside that does, what it actually does is suppresses your appetite, right? And it slows down the digestive system, which means you result in consuming fewer calories, right? That's just the hallmark of losing weight. And when I did my sort of weight loss, that big weight loss there, I did it the hard way. It was like cold turkey. It was like getting off an addiction, right, to sugars, bad carbs, bad food. It was like an addiction, and I went strict keto, and it was horrendous. But once you get past those cravings, it gets a lot easier. And what you end up doing is training yourself so that now I don't get any cravings for that food whatsoever. All I eat is meat and veg, meat and salad, whatever, right? Just on rotation, just high protein diet, low overall calories, all whole foods. And trying to think about making that lifestyle change is very difficult at first. But, if you can't do that, and then you go on these drugs like the Ozempic or whatever, right, you will lose weight, but you've not actually, you've not made the change. So you've certainly not made the change with yourself mentally, like your identity. You're not, it's like an undeserved benefit, if you ask me. It's like, and I think, if you ever studied karma, right, karma's a wonderful thing. It has, the law of karma is what you put out, you get back, right? And the basis of it is, if you want to achieve a certain thing or a certain status, you've got to be prepared to make the changes internally within your identity, and then also back that up with the rituals, routines, and habits that you do every day. So you've got to physically make these changes. And if you don't, right, karma has this weird thing where if you cheat the system, at some point you've got to pay your karmic debt. right? Because the universe just has this way of like perfect accounting where it will not let debts go unpaid. So these people that go on this drug and don't change their diet or their lifestyle will fucking yo-yo the minute they come off it, right? That is just, it's just the law, isn't it, right? You can call it karma, call it what you want, unless you are prepared to make those physical changes and the hard work, it ain't gonna work. So the people that do go on the drug, fine, whatever, but make sure you make the changes so you can transition off, because you want to make this a lifestyle thing. You want to get to the point, and that's why I, like on my website, andyholt.co.uk, if you go on to resources, the diet plans and recipes, I've created this, right, for free. It's yours. It's like my blueprint. It explains everything that I've done. And I don't want to rattle it off now, but it's based on 4 principles: whole food diet wherever possible, cut out processed foods, high protein, right, overall protein, low overall calories, and generally lowering certainly those bad carbohydrates. Right, and that's all you need to do. That will be 85% of the work. And if you can spend 6 months of your life training yourself to do that, you'll acquire that for the rest of your life. You'll never have to rely on any drugs. You'll never yo-yo diet. You'll never have problems with weight again, right? And you'll probably live longer and a lot healthier, and you'll have more energy, you'll have less brain fog, and you'll feel like you can. The other thing is, right, once you train that discipline like that, not only do you not get the cravings, so there's like, after, it might take you 6 months to really get good at this, but once you do, you hit that tipping point and you never look back. And then everything starts getting easier, right? And the funny thing, when I say, like, losing weight and getting in shape naturally is a mark of status, it is, right? Because it kind of translates to other areas of life, right? Even the person that's successful in business that is overweight, if they lost that weight, they'd be even more successful in business, because that discipline. It's like, I remember when I worked in the city in Manchester, in the city. And I talked about this before on videos. I worked in the city, and there was a colleague there that I worked with, and he was in pretty good shape, like, he was really good shape. And I remember him saying to me at the time, he said, I could never trust anyone that was overweight. And I thought, fucking hell, that's evil. I just thought it was like, oh, that's awful. But now when I think about it, I know what he means. It's like, he said, oh, I can't trust anyone that can't control the weight. And I thought, that's ridiculous. It's all right for you to say in your shape, it was in fantastic, it looked great. And it's like, I felt really sorry, but in reality, what he means is, when he sees someone that controls the weight, he trusts them. Because it's like, that person's got discipline, which means he can also trust them in business. He can trust them to do the hard work when it comes to it. So this isn't to shit anyone, because I've been there. I know what it's like when you're carrying a lot of weight. It's not to shit anyone that's overweight or struggling, right? It's to tell you that you've got to develop that discipline. So, and this is the point with the drugs. If you become reliant on those drugs, like these people that are taking this, these weight loss drugs, like the Wegovy, the semaglutide, or the Ozempic is the original one. If you're relying on that, these people that rely on that, they become dependent on that drug unless they make those lifestyle choices. And the worst thing you can do is to become dependent on something else. Because I talk a lot on my channel about developing personal sovereignty. Well, what is personal sovereignty? It's living life on your terms. And it's certainly not building dependencies on anyone else or any other thing. Certainly not drugs or whatever. Right? So that's how I feel about that. I don't believe in quick fixes, shortcuts. There's only one way, and it's the hard way. Yeah. So yeah, I've made it easy. Hop over to my website, andyholt.co.uk. Just follow that diet plan there, and go to resources, diet plans and recipes. It's all there. And the other thing, I'm just going to talk a little bit about performance enhancing drugs. So if you go into the gym and you're trying to work out, it can be sometimes hard to get results, right? And a lot of people, especially if like you're getting on and you get, let's say you're a guy, you're getting older and you know your testosterone's not what it was, and you start thinking, oh, I should go and get some TRT. And I kind of understand it, because you know getting TRT will fix it, but again you become dependent on the TRT. What happens if the market changes? TRT is not readily available. There's all sorts of other things. I listened to a couple of people's feedback that have had it, and there's certain things that it can mess with, like your blood pressures and things like this, right? But I think before you even go near that stuff, because sometimes you might need a drug just to give you a bit of a boost, before you go near that stuff, you should optimize yourself first. I always think performance enhancement or any sort of top-up drug works better on an already optimized human, right? So you don't ever want to do anything as a shortcut or a little performance enhancer or a booster as an excuse not to do hard work. It should always be after you've done the hard work or alongside the hard work. Personally, I think, right, you can keep your testosterone at a very good place naturally by doing the right things. What are those right things? Getting your sleep right, number one. Getting your diet right, just like my diet plan. Whole foods, high protein, low overall calories. Now you have to tweak your calories depending on how I explain it. Sometimes it's like, you know, a lean bulk, sometimes a cut or maintain, but you don't want to overeat. And the other one is I will go certainly no processed carbs and low overall carbs to keep your inflammation down, right? If you eat clean and you train hard and you get good sleep and you're on it in terms of your goals and you're getting little daily wins, you'll keep your testosterone high, right? If you live clean, eat clean, sleep well, train hard and get good daily wins, you can keep your testosterone high. There are certain tweaks that you can do, so I don't want to get into it here. I've done it before, but you know, it's not just about your testosterone. You've got to look at your free testosterone, which is reliant on your SHBG, which is the binding protein. You have to know what to do there. You know, a lot of the time it's like too much iron in your blood. If your SHBG is too high and it's binding too much free testosterone, because it's not your overall testosterone, it's the free testosterone, the stuff that is available to work. And I'm completely natural. Never had anything other than a bit of creatine. I've never had anything, and I've managed to keep my testosterone very good. It dipped when I had that period in my life, yeah, you know, which it will do. But I've absolutely bounced back and kept it high naturally, just through living clean, sleeping, eating that whole foods diet exactly on my website. And I train well. I don't overtrain. Get good rest and recovery. It can be done. Message me if you need any help. Just shoot me an email. But go and have a look at my diet plans and recipes. There's a link down below in the description. All right? Don't take the drugs. Not good for you. Certainly not these weight loss. I would rather just leave you the final point. It's like what I said when I did the recording. It's like the analogy here is like winning the lottery, right? People that win the lottery generally, they're not used to having money, so they end up losing it again. Why is that? It's because they haven't become the person that is good with money. So I think there's a theory that you could round all the money up in the way. We go, you know, all the billionaires have got most of the money, right? But you can round up all the money in the world, dish it out across everyone equally, and then yeah, and in 10 years or so, it'll all be back in the hands it was in the first place, same hands. Why is that? It's because some people have developed the identity and become the person that has that money. And it's the same with getting in shape. You have to become that person that stays in shape your whole life. So just taking drugs, you haven't become that person. Unless you're prepared to become that person while you're taking the drugs, it ain't going to work. So the way to do it is to create that identity and develop the discipline. Right? Let me know what you think. I'm going to shoot. Right. See you all next time.